Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Russian cast, and today we are having a look at the rank 1 Ezreal on the Korean server. He is the best ranked Ezreal main. He does have a 71% win rate on the champion with a 9.2 to 3.4 KD, which is absolutely ridiculous. We're gonna head and go into the rift here. We will jump right in as the game is already afoot. Ezreal will be walking down into the bottom lane here. We have a standard little cheese coming out of the team here. And the blue team will be able to pick up the kill, the flash, and the cleanse onto the Ezreal immediately. A reason to be mad at him, because this is a rather predictable thing that has been popping up lately. However, also important to say that obviously this strategy was invented specifically for AD carries and supports trying to get a ward into one of these further bushes here, just to avoid some shenanigans. And that trend has been countered with, well, even more shenanigans. Also, in other news on this, we have a top lane Soraka, which is going to be very interesting, facing off against a Sejuani with a Bel'Veth here for the Ezreal Rakan, which is the worst combo I've ever heard in the bot lane. And then Akali in the mid lane going off against the Taliyah, Lee Sin in the jungle for the blue team, and Aphelios and Annie going up here against the Ezreal. Alright, so we will see. I mean, at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, our beloved... Sorry. There we go. At the end of the day, our beloved Deft... I'm going to replay that. At the end of the day, our beloved Deft still probably the best Ezreal world, right? And we are going to do the review of the best Ezreal world as well, which is currently ranked. Is a European play. However, obviously these titles, best Ezreal world, these are statistical titles that are not specifically curated, right? So it's always kind of difficult to say, but doing a very solid job here. This guy definitely has a clue on how to play Ezreal, right? He will also be starting off, maybe very important here, doesn't have flash, so remember that. He will make his way out here, but good amount of pressure onto his lane. He will be starting out with Press the Attack here. He's running Press the Attack, Presence of Mind, Legend Bloodline, Coup de Gras, which is very interesting. And Magical Boots, as Annie will not find the lethal on to the Ezreal, even though Ignite was invested here. The Rakan is able to block the shot from Aphelios. Well, Aphelios is unable to hit the shot. He could have layered the shot a little bit further to the left and would have been able to hit it. Didn't manage to though. Ezreal now is going to shove out the wave here, together with this jungler, who now shows up and is going to bring this lane state in order. Very aggressive recall here by the Ezreal, as he is not going to recall at all. The on the way pings come through, and somehow we are still staying in this lane with a flash out of the Rakan and a beautiful stun. The enemy will go down as Ezreal will be able to pick up a kill for himself onto the enemy AD carry. However, his jungler will be traded for it. And the kill goes over to the Lee Sin, as we are going to E out of there, and Lee Sin will go down. Beautiful EQ. I don't know what Lee Sin was thinking, but I mean, Lee Sin Q does a lot of damage early on. Perfect E by the Ezreal. Perfectly timed E will get him out of there just in time, as he will be able to pick up for himself a Sheen and a longsword as well. Very good start. Probably also important to note, right? Actually, no. A Tear of the Goddess. We started out on the longsword and a refill potion, and here we are. I thought to myself that is a peculiar build. Start out with tier, but you know, oftentimes you see these champion mains play very greedy because mechanics can save you a good amount of money. But ooh, beautiful Qs here onto the Annie. This is very important. Poking out the Annie. Generally, poking out this comp is super good for you, as Ezreal can win this lane on his own pretty much. Which is very nice. We have a freeze moving towards us, and we will punish the enemy team for giving us that by denying good amount of minions here. Yeah, more minions are being denied here. We are starting to counter push now. You can see that the Ezreal will be auto attacking a little bit more here. As now Bel'Veth starting the dragon. Annie is on the way. Oh, as this could be an absolute disaster. Bel'Veth will be able to pick up the dragon. Ezreal gets himself another kill, which is beautiful, as the Akali is ready to roam and will take down the enemy AD carry as well. Lee Sin arriving very late to the party. And so, our Ezreal player, 3-1-1, has been able to get himself just a little bit of money. And we will see how exactly he will invest it. It is going to be an Essence Reaver. Can spoiler you already. As, you know, with this build, it's not super likely that you're going Triforce, even though Triforce definitely not a bad option, definitely not a terrible start. But this Ezreal in specific seems to be focusing a little bit more on a lethal playstyle, and we will cover that just once it arrives. As obviously right now, we are going to push out the bottom lane and stack up our tier just a little bit. Have to respect the point at which Aphelios actually is the same level with us. But soon a level advantage will be created here again. Ezreal, 1 minion away from hitting 6, as we are going to get a good poke combo here onto the Aphelios. Going to use Q instead of W here, which is very interesting, as obviously the W would have been able to proc using the E, but you know, I understand, as we are dealing a good amount of damage here to the turret using those Sheen procs. And there it goes. The first plating goes down, as we are finding a little bit of poke damage here onto the Aphelios. AD carries pretty similarly matched when it comes to the levels, as Aphelios will be running down the enemy team here. Will be found by the Rakan W. The Ezreal ult will not connect, unfortunately, and that can be pretty difficult, as Lee Sin will make his way into the top, into the bot side river here. Looking for a gank opportunity, not really finding anything, as Bel'Veth will counter that with a perfect cross map. Starting out the Herald with Akali, having quite a lot of pressure, but we have a lot of fighting going on down here in the bottom lane, as the Aphelios ultimate will miss and Annie doesn't have her ultimate available yet. So the scuffle kerfuffle will continue, as we are going to fight around dominance of this lane. So far looking very much in favor here of the Ezreal, as he's setting himself up for an aggressive E forward. Will not take it yet though. Is going to try to cancel the Aphelios if he can, but otherwise you just push out the wave. You'll take that. That's more than good enough, as Aphelios obviously has to leave. Otherwise he will be stuck between a rock and a hard place, because getting that pushed into you. Ooh, we are not forcing the wave in, and he will not hold it anyhow though. Anyhow. As here now the Essence Reaver has been completed and we are going for another longsword. Slightly magical boots have been delivered to the doorstep right now as well. The new Boris delivery. I mean, at this point it's not new, right? It's been like 2 years. But to me it's still new. Because at this point I'm approximately 1 million years old. So that's good for me. Alright, Aphelios is gonna have to pop that ghost. We'll get on Audi, as we do have a Vampiric Scepter and Cloak of Agility start here, which pretty much signifies that we are going to go for a Bloodthirster, which is not a bad option in general. However, versus this team can be a little bit difficult to pull off, as obviously the Bel'Veth doesn't really care about your sustain. The Akali doesn't really care about your sustain. The Ezreal doesn't really care about your sustain, as the Ezreal will just poke you down. However, actually, like, yeah, Black Cleaver is pretty decent versus the... Oh, we are losing the stacks here. Losing the stacks of Essence Flux. Absolutely unacceptable. Usually in every Ezreal review, I hammer onto this point of managing your passive, which is called Essence Flux. And basically the way it works is that his spells grant him bonus attack speed. And that is such a massive amount of money that he is granted through stats here, as a team fight will emerge and the blue team will be wiped off the face of the Rift by Bel'Veth Akali. Ezreal kind of just sitting there watching. Hitting a good ultimate though. Good through shot barrage for the start as the Herald summon. Will lock down this turret's fate. Ezreal dealing good amount of damage here to the tower. Could have tried to let the turret barely live. And then pick up the gold bounty between only him and Rakan. But in this case, the tower ended up going down to the Herald, I believe. So the gold went over to Bel'Veth as well, who was fairly out of range, but will end up going down. Or going over anyhow. As now we are probably working on the Mana Immune / Muramana, right? As Lee Sin will not be finding the solo kill here onto the Rakan. Questionable play anyway, as Akali will be able to pick up a kill onto the Taliyah, and Ezreal with his True Shot Barrage is going to pick up a kill onto the Sejuani, or otherwise other way around. I think it was other way around actually. Anyhow, kill goes over to both of the carries, which is super not a good situation to be in. Now we have a weak Aphelios, we have a weak Annie. Top lane also not looking too hot, although the enemy top lane looking a little bit less hot, to be perfectly honest, as she will be taken down as well here for her 4th death of the game, as Aphelios is trying his best, and he will actually find the shutdown onto the Bel'Veth. That is a pretty big pickup for himself. He will get himself the Bloodthirster here as well, as Ezreal has managed to pick up another plate in the top lane. Meanwhile, we are going to deal as much damage as we can, as Sejuani simply just gonna move back and walk past the True Shot Barrage, and will just be taken down here by the Sejuani, and that is another gold bounty going over to the blue team. So the blue team definitely back in the saddle when it comes to gold. They were down quite a bit more. Did get some pretty good shutdowns here, but do not make any mistake, there is still a reasonable farm lead here and a very big plate lead here for the blue team. As now Sejuani will find the kill, or will find her death actually, and Bel'Veth will find the kill onto the Sejuani. As now Ezreal and Akali in the same lane, kind of suboptimal. Akali sees and will be leaving down for the bottom lane. We'll be just walking across the map as any. Just gonna press Tibbers and thank you for your contribution, Annie. You have just made this game a million times harder. I don't understand. I do not understand. Now Kali with a fleet footwork will be walking in here. A trap has been set, but will it be able to be executed? As the Shroud comes out, and we are going to try to fight this. The ultimate comes out, but Aphelios running down this Akali. Ghost in hand, he will not be able to find her, but bully her out of lane at least. Which might result in the turret going down for him, which is very good, as Soraka will be picked up once again. Hopefully now she gets her Rod of Ages. Yes, Rod of Ages now available for her. As the Herald will go over here. And Baveth is not going to be able to deal quite enough damage here to pick up any kills, unfortunately. Lee Sin has been away on a vacation for a while, so, well, a forced vacation. So the guy hasn't had the most impact on objectives, unfortunately. Generally, he's been doing an okay job influencing the map, but unfortunately, not quite enough to pick up. Oof. Oh, as the Ezreal flash will come out. A lot of confidence here as Lee Sin immediately getting to work onto that Ezreal, but Soraka is there to outstain, and Lee Sin will surrender himself over here to the Ezreal. We'll give over another kill. Mana immune has been completed. Muramana still 60 mana off. About 54 at this current point in time. As we also have some Ionian Boots of Lucidity. Quite a bit of money available here for ourselves. As the Bel'Veth will be finding an all-in onto the Aphelios and will take him down as well. As the Tibbers not quite dealing enough damage to take down the Bel'Veth. And so Baveth will live with another kill and her true form in hand. The Ghost comes out as she will move out of that scary situation as Lee Sin will be moving in here onto the Akali. But in general, yeah, it seems like we are not really able to find anything. As here actually the all-in found onto the Bel'Veth, who decided to move in and try to kill a Sejuani. Absolutely amazing idea out of Bel'Veth there. As now Soraka will be worked on, and that is a lot of sustain for the game gone, or for the fight gone, as Sejuani obviously and Lee Sin did overextend themselves just a little bit. Ezreal now on the hunt here for the Sejuani, as they did pick up the Soraka, but was it worth it to trade two people for this 0 and 6 Soraka? I'm not sure. It is what it is, as Akali will be flipped and flicked. And we'll be able to get ourselves out of there, as Ezreal, like the swift assassin he is, will slide all in. And will take a double kill for himself. 10, 2, and 4. Already very good stats. As we are just a little bit of gold off of the transformation of Muramana. There it is. We did pick up the Muramana here for ourselves. And going to be starting out the dragon. Good amount of DPS coming out through already. As now Lee Sin not even moving in to try to steal, try to 50-50 the dragon. Probably something that you should do. I think preventing soul point is kind of important, so I think you should definitely give your life for this. But this Lee Sin doesn't think so, so, you know, the tilt seems to be real, as, yeah, I don't think that there is any point in which this is a good decision. And here we see the special build coming in from the Ezreal, as he will be running a Duskblade of Drakthar. Not an item you see commonly on Ezreals, although, you know, you did see it different points. His damage to Sejuani is not going to be super overwhelming. However, with that said, he does still pick up the kill onto the Sejuani. Of course, it still is overwhelming as he does have quite a bit of money, but the build itself doesn't lend itself very well to dealing with tanks. But very good dealing with others, as he will be shut down here by the Lee Sin. Aphelios Ghost is activated. Aphelios has the Bloodthirster, has the Infinity Edge, so pretty strong core for him. But obviously it's not going to be enough. So he will be moving out of range here and outplaying the heck out of this Bel'Veth, who will go down as a Fiesta is commencing, and a triple kill goes over to the Taliyah, as the Herald will charge down mid lane and Akali will charge down the bottom lane. We'll be able to pick up that one as well. Trade yourself for it, presumably, as the perfect execution will get her to safety here. Annie, unfortunately, not quite able to find the stun onto the Akali there. And so Akali is going to go down. Blue team here now working on that Baron. Much more interestingly, Ezreal will probably not be able to arrive, but the True Shot Barrage hits very close, but Lee Sin is able to secure the Baron for himself and his team, as a Black Cleaver now available to him. And Aphelios now running Berserker Boots and a Zeal. So definitely on the way to get pretty good items as well, as obviously the 3-item core hero of the Ezreal seems to be quite the scary one, as I'm expecting a Cyrilda's Grudge here next, right, to be able to deal with the little bit of armor on the Lee Sin, and then obviously the Sejuani, who at this point does have good amount of resistances. Add to that her passive is pretty resistant in general, as we are going to move into the mid lane here again to defend it. And the fighting will never stop. No, it won't. As Sejuani will catch out the Bel'Veth here, but will find herself on the receiving end of a lot of damage here. The red team collapsing on top of the blue team here, taking down the Annie already. Now they are going to lay chase here to the blue team. Pretty decent pocket found here by the Aphelios, but you have to be a little bit careful, as the ultimate will unfortunately not find its mark, and that is a big tool here for the blue team gone. As Aphelios doing a good job here standing his ground so far, but it is going to be questionable whether or not he is going to be able to do that constantly. Also, I'm just constantly eating my words about what I said with the Bloodthirster. That was so bad, so stupid. Bloodthirster's an amazing item versus Ezreal, right? Because you are going to want to be able to out-sustain the poke damage, keep yourself healthy, and have that regeneration, obviously, also for every potential all-in. Be able to get yourself over the HP threshold of execution here of the enemy jungler as well, aka Bel'Veth, I believe is what you call that one. The Queen of the Void. Listen. Looking to scrap. This Lee Sin seems very tilted to me. I don't know. He does weird things. Gonna spend 75 gold on that escape, as the Annie ultimate will absolutely do nothing again, and Annie will just go down. And that is a double kill here for the Ezreal, and just an absolute destruction in that fight, as obviously we did take a fight without our mid laner here once again. Has been working a lot better before. Not so good now, as the Ezreal will skill check the Taliyah, and beautifully so he will pick up a kill onto her, sidestepping that shove, putting himself into quite a good situation here, as he is 6, 3, and 5, obviously does a lot of damage. And they will be working on finishing the game right here and right now, as Aphelios might have a word to say about this. The Aphelios ultimate comes through, as he will be moving in like the unstoppable force of anti-fun that he is. Ezreal will be able to pick up a kill here onto the Lee Sin. Akali will miss her Shuriken, unfortunately, as Aphelios now mowing down the Rakan. Will be stunned forever, though, not able to attack during the Rakan ultimate, but Aphelios doing an amazing job here at picking up the multiple of the enemy team here. The Rakan and the Soraka, both of the supports. As Ezreal's still alive, but will be picked up here as well by the Aphelios. But Aphelios not able to withstand the two assassins jumping down on him, as well as quite a beautiful play here by the Aphelios. Will not be able to save the game, but it is a sight to behold nonetheless. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one, as this Ezreal is quite the mechanical beast. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay awesome.